What's going on, everybody? In Wrestling with Tragedy Facebook page, YouTube page, wherever you happen to be watching, and more than likely, the Vince Russo brand. Shout out to
Yeah.
Vince Russo for allowing us to share his platform. We could not be more grateful for that. Guys, we have a very interesting topic, to say the least. We're going to talk about how one crazy night with another man's wife could ultimately cost you your thumb.
Allegedly.
Oh,
Allegedly.
allegedly. But before we get into that, I
I
just
love
want
it.
to
I think it's some good shit.
Such good shit.
There's going to be so many jokes from Angel coming. I guarantee it. So before
Thumbs
we
up,
get in,
thumbs up, thumbs up.
before we get into all of that crazy stuff, let me go and just take one quick second to thank our amazing sponsors. First being Myon Belts. Myon Belts is the premier belt maker in the world. If you're looking at starting a belt collection or even adding to your already existing belt collection, Myon Belts on Facebook are going to make you the best quality belts with the best price, and they offer a phenomenal payment plan. So, like I said, if you're in the market for a championship belt, make sure you hit up Myon Belts on Facebook. Also, A Rock Designs. A Rock Designs makes a bunch of cool custom stuff like this Bullet Club tumbler. They make wrestling, non wrestling. They make cups, shirts, hoodies, keychains, just about anything you guys can imagine they make at A Rock Designs. So, with that being said, guys, let's go ahead and dive right into what we're going to be talking about today. Um, Piers, you actually had the privilege of hearing this straight from the horse's mouth on your other show, Shooting the Shit Uncensored. If you guys don't follow that show, make sure you head over to Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on Facebook and YouTube. Hit that subscribe button, that bell to stay notified. And you can find this interview with Messiah. And so Piers, let us know exactly what you heard from the man's mouth himself.
Well, so today, what we're going to be covering off is the story that happened back in 2002 when there was a gentleman by the name of Billy Welch, better known as the Messiah, who wrestled for a company called XPW, who was a company on the west coast of the United States that was coming out and trying to be the next ECW. Messiah left XPW and went over to CZW. But in that time, there was some serious falling out between the owner of XPW, Rob Black, and Messiah. Now, we'll go into the finer details of it, but basically what occurred was there was an attack on the Messiah in his home where two men barged into his house and severed one of his thumbs. They then tried to sever his other thumb, and they also were pulling at his pants, whether they were trying to sever his penis. No one's going to know that story or not. He was able to get out, but he did lose.
They took the thumb with them.
Yeah.
So they wanted proof that something was done.
It's like a mafia hit. Show me proof of your.
It very much is. Now,
It's like
Messiah went on to have a very storied career after this assault. In Combat Zone Wrestling and that independent wrestling boom that occurred in the early 2000s, which, we saw a lot of stars coming out around that time. You look at guys like Homicide, Messiah, Homicide. You may have heard of him, Angel.
Yeah, I think I heard of that little guy.
Homicide, the Messiah, Adam Flash, Sick Nick Mondo, and several other names. So the assault that has basically occurred, the Messiah was working for XPW's company in the office for XPW, which was also the parent company for XPW was Extreme Associates, which is a pornographic company. Now, Extreme Associates weren't just making your average pornos. They were making some pretty sick shit, simulated rape scenes, vomiting and all sorts of weird, crazy shit.
Almost like snuff films.
Close to it, from what I've heard. Now, Rob Black was a guy, from all accounts and all stories told, was someone who was obsessed about being the next Paul Heyman. He really believed that he was on his way to being the next Paul Heyman. He was a guy that, always wanted to try and intimidate people, but from what I've been told, he never really wanted to have confrontations. He wasn't a confrontational kind of guy, but he liked to sort of have that alpha mentality. So you know, when I interviewed Messiah, his words in that interview were there was no doubt that that Rob was the one guys that sent these guys after him. There was allegations and rumor had it that that Messiah was sleeping with Rob's wife, who is known as Lizzie Borden, who is a pornographic actress and pornographic director. Those allegations were denied by Messiah, but he did say that they were close. There was when he left XPW, he was the current world champion, but he was also the current deathmatch champion as well.
Was he the Thumb Warp champion too?
Well, but he left that company in pretty much instantaneously, holding 2 of the major titles with that organization. So there was something going on that happened there. From what his story was,
which titles were they?
It was the world title and the King of the Deathmatch championships. So
I really don't care about his title. I'm really enjoying that he got his thumbs cut off.
So he got one of his thumbs cut off, and
yeah, I don't care. It's just 1, 2. It's awesome.
So he stated in previous interviews that that he had a falling out with Rob, where he yelled at Rob. Once he had that falling out with Rob, he then obviously got contacted by Combat Zone Wrestling, by John Zandig, who was the owner at the time. He went over there, and it was supposed to be a 1-match deal. He had a match with their champion at the time, Justice Payne, and it was kind of like an indie dream match. He did really well. Then they kept booking him. Now, that's not what's occurred. So what sort of really sparked it was he was on the West Coast with Sick Nick Mondo. He was hanging out with a few of the XPW guys, and they gave Messiah some tickets to go to a show. He said, "No, come on." He was like, "No, I don't think I should." Anyway, so he got the tickets. He went to the show. He was hanging up in the nosebleed section away from everyone else. Sick Nick Mondo was down interacting, people recognizing him. Then Messiah, told me that he got a phone call from one of the guys in the back saying, "Hey, you need to leave. Like, Rob is pissed that you're here." He said, "You're causing a scene." And Messiah said, "Well, no, I'm not causing a scene. I'm up in the nosebleeds. I'm away from everything."
Well, before you go on further, the thing that I think he was set up, not set up in the way, because if you have heat with the owner, you're not going to go to a show, even if you got free tickets, because even if I had a falling out with
he went to support his buddies, though. He was still friends with the workers.
I understand. But the way I'm looking at it, like, if you have major heat with the owner, Vince, Paul, Bischoff, and you got free tickets, and well, I know the stadium is bigger, but I'm just saying that if they see you, it's going to cause a major heat. And 9 out of 10, you just don't go because you just don't want no problems. The way the story, I was watching the story, was like, it made it seem like, I don't know, it just made me feel like, dude, they set you up to go in there because they knew that Rob Backer was going to go ballistic, and he got wind that you showed up, especially the part where he said he went to the ticket booth, and the guy's like, "Yo, you're not going to cause any problems, are you?" You knew that guy was going to run back and say, "Yo, Rob, this motherfucker's here. He's disrespecting you. You told him not to come back, and now he's here? What the fuck?" I didn't mean to cut you off, Piers. I just had to bring that up. Go ahead. Would you finish what you were saying?
So after that, he ended up leaving. Then Kevin Kleinrock, who was one of the top producers for XPW or bookers, whatever you want to call it, Messiah called him, and his wife answered, and he said, because apparently Rob was yelling at the boys, saying, "Fuck you, it's your fault that he's here," and he basically said, tell Kevin and fucking Rob that they shouldn't be yelling at the boys. If they want to yell at someone, ring me. They can fucking yell at me. Okay, I've come here. I've come to support my friends. On the card, it was Shane Douglas versus White Trash Johnny Webb. Mm-hmm. Now, White Trash Johnny Webb was a friend.
Amazing name.
Yeah. So White Trash Johnny Webb was a friend of Messiah's. They'd known each other. They trained together at Slammers.
I wonder if White Trash Johnny Webb was on that hillbilly heroin.
The oxycodone. Who knows, man? But a little time after that show, Johnny Webb called Messiah and said, "Hey, man, understand you didn't like my match, blah, blah, blah." They bullshitted for a bit. And he said, "Hey, you need to watch yourself. You need to be careful because Rob is pissed." Now, that to me is, it kind of implements Rob Black as being the person who was the man responsible for that hit. We're looking at 18 years later.
Yeah, but do you see how right there from what you're saying, like how it leads into that, like, dude, you need to watch yourself. Rob Black is pissed, because he knew it was going to cause heat. He knew showing up, he was going to get a reaction. He knew that he's not going to show up and not get a response of what's going on. I mean, Rob Black knew he was there instantaneously, and then all of a sudden, people are like, dude, you need to watch your back. Why did he need to? You need to watch your back. Rob Black is pissed. Look at that wording.
Obviously, Rob has said, "I'm going to get this motherfucker." By the sound of it.
So why go to the show? Why go to the show knowing that dudes might come up behind you and beat the shit out of you?
But the attack didn't happen at the show.
I know,
but it could have.
But he obviously didn't think that, and at the time as well, Messiah was a 20-something-year-old guy. So when you're a 20-something-year-old guy, you've got balls of steel, man. Like you don't really give a fuck about anything.
I just think he went to get a rise out of him. I think he knew that if he showed up and his face was in the audience, just like Enzo went to the fucking WWE, knew it was going to get a rise out of Vince.
He was being an instigator. Let's just call it what it is. He was being an instigator. And I know you say that the hit didn't happen at the show, but it very much could have. And when you take the kind of the death match guy that Messiah is, Piers, let me ask you this. You're sitting at that show and you see Messiah. And then you see two guys from the back come out and they just start throwing hands, not knowing any of the backstage stuff that's going on or anything like that. You're just a fan sitting there in the crowd. Wouldn't you kind of think, oh, this is a work. This is part of the show.
Yeah, but none of that happened though. That was
I know, but what I'm getting at is it could have happened. I personally wouldn't have went to that show, and that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm like, look, if I go in here and I get my brains beat in, everybody's going to think it's part of the show. I'm being set up. And if you really wanted to give your friend tickets to the show and have him go and be there, you don't leave that stuff at will call. You give him the tickets. You're like, hey, sneak in under the radar, keep your hood on, whatever. If you really want to go and you don't want to make it so known that you're there, as soon as the guy at the ticket booth goes, you ain't going to cause any problems, I would have turned around and left. And if also, I couldn't go in unnoticed, I wouldn't have gone at all.
And 9 out of 10, if it's your buddies that you're there to support, 9 out of 10, you go with your homie. Hey, man, I'll come with you. You come in the locker room because you're still part of the boys. And that's when the opponent was like, hey, man, what's he doing here? Oh, I told him to come down and he's here to support us. So to me, why am I going to give you a ticket if you could come with me if I'm one of the stars? Meaning he gave him the ticket. My thought process gave him the ticket to set him up, to put him in front in the audience because he knew that it was going to get back when he went to the ticket counter to show his face. Here. I'm here to see the show. And the guy's like, holy shit. And then he leaves and he's like, and all of a sudden the guy runs and goes, Rob, guess who the fuck is here? After you had a huge argument with him?
You know who gave him the tickets?
Who?
You know who gave him the tickets?
I forgot.
GQ Money. Now, GQ Money works for WWE as Ryan Katz. He's not an on-screen performer, but he's a backstage
the talent,
like a producer, whatever. He's not a talent, but he wrestled for the MTV Wrestling Society X. He did some work in XPW in the early 2000s.
And what's his name again? I'm gonna look him up.
Ryan Katz with a K, Katz. He was the one that
when you get those tickets, and this is just me being a natural skeptic as I am. What is on a ticket? Like what is on that ticket that you buy?
Well, it's an indie wrestling show, so who the fuck knows?
It could be a ticket number. It could be a seating arrangement.
That's what I'm getting at. More times than not, you have a seat number. So you mean to tell me I'm going to walk into this damn hornet's nest where I'm already getting, weird vibes at the counter, and now they know exactly where I'm sitting at in this arena? Fuck that.
No, because Sick Nick Mondo went down to the front row that went with him. Now, Sick Nick Mondo was part of CZW and was one of CZW's top stars at that time. Messiah went straight up to the nosebleed sections. So, this is a thing, man. Like, Angel, you've heard of XPW. They turned up at an ECW show.
Yep, I know.
So they turned up at an ECW show. in XPW shirts and with front row tickets. They were told to turn their shirts inside out. An altercation happened where apparently one of their female valets grabbed Francine. I think Francine's actually come out and said no one touched her. And Messiah was in that row. And then obviously a whole heap of ECW guys came out and literally beat the shit out of like the XPW ring crew, basically. XPW just seemed like one of those companies that were just that they had a lot of talent in there, but they just did a lot of dumb shit. And not to get off topic, but Messiah going to that show was apparently the thing where he thought, Rob Black thought he was disrespected majorly by having him show up.
So let's get away from the event and let's get into why this made our show, why we feel this needs to be talked about. So, Piers, how do they get to the alleged sexual act
between Lizzie and Messiah? You mean?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was just a rumor. Like, both parties have come out and denied the allegation. I don't think Rob Black's even ever addressed it.
But it was because of this allegation that what happened, correct?
No. What happened was with him turning up to the show was what set Rob off. So, they had an altercation and he basically was fired from XPW. He was a dual champion of XPW. Or he quit XPW, whatever it is. So he lost the company that he wrestled for and his job in the same thing like that. Then, he was sitting at home. He gets a phone call from John Zandig. Zandig's like, "Hey, Billy, this is John Zandig. How'd you like to come and work?" He starts getting booked with CZW. Then, look, there's a promo that I saw where Messiah's in the ring and the crowd's chanting "fuck Rob Black," and then he's gone, "Yeah, fuck that motherfucker," and all that shit. And then the crowd starts chanting, "You fucked Lizzie," to which he responds, "And she loved every fucking minute of it." To me, that's him working the crowd. You know what I mean? Like, why would he say that in a promo? But then, in countless interviews, he has denied that allegation. He said they were close, they were friends. But like he even has said that, he tried to quit XPW before, where he said, he had the titles and he's like, "Hey man, I can't do this. My body's beat up." And Rob was like, "Hey man, you quit, I quit." So he's like, "What the fuck?" No. And, he kind of got not forced into staying, but guilted into staying a little bit longer. But, I think once he left XPW, and then turning up at the show, there was already some heat there between the two. Turning up at the show, has what's been said is what set Rob Black off. Now, setting him off to an extent where you feel like you've been disrespected to the point that you're going to go and have someone's a limb or something cut off another human being's body. It boggles my fucking mind, dude. Like what sort of mentality would you have to have something like that happen? Now, the assault itself, where, what he's spoken about in the past, and obviously the interview that I had with him, where he was sitting down playing video games, two guys came in and he had his flatmate's girlfriend that was with them, or something like that, and he's turned around and she's gone, like, these guys just came in like seconds after, and she's like, "What the fuck's going on?" And he's like, said, I knew exactly why they were there.
Wait a minute, but I was watching the America's Most Wanted segment, and he said that when they walked in, that he just thought they were his roommate's friends.
Yeah.
And he looked at them and he goes, "Hey, what's up?" And they go, "Hey, what's up?" And then he looks on the screen and he sees the reflection of them, like, "Yo, no, you get him. Now, the thing that's throwing me off here is that, where's the roommate? Supposedly this is the roommate's friend, and when the shit was popping off, why all of a sudden he was the only one there getting beat up by two guys? And then
so the roommate's girlfriend that was there, he turned around and he said in another interview, he looked at her and said, "Maybe I think you should go walk the dog." and they walked the dog, and then that's where they jumped him. They hit a fish tank over his back, or over his head.
Mm-hmm.
It was a massive melee. During the attack, he broke one of their arms, I believe. It was just he said it was very messy. It was messy. These guys were not professional. They were just a couple of hired goons there to just beat the shit out of him and take something to prove that the assault happened.
They weren't professional, man. They didn't clean cut my thumb. They're not pros. But the thing is this: the thing I'm just looking at is like, if you thought, and again, the story you're telling me, and again, I'm just going off with the video. He's saying like, they came in. He looked at them. He thought he was his roommate's, one of his roommate's friends, and he goes, "Yo, what's up?" And they go, "Yo, what's up?"
And that's what he thought originally. But then he realized what was going on. He was like, "Well, hold on a second. This is a bit."
Yeah, but where's your roommate? Is the roommate the girl?
The roommate was the girl. She left with the dog.
So if she was there, and I thought the wording he said, I thought it was my roommate's friend. That bitch would have been like, "Nah, dude, I don't know these motherfuckers. How the fuck they got in? You think somebody's gonna knock on the door and they're just gonna walk in?" And then,
But that's the thing. The assault didn't happen with her there. She left.
But how did they get in?
The door was unlocked, or the door was open. They've walked in.
Then why did the bitch not go, "Who the fuck are you, motherfuckers?" But he said, "I thought they were my roommate's friend."
She probably thought they were with him. He probably thought they were with her. And
Kevin, do you see where I'm going with this?
No, I 100% get where you're going. And, these are the things that, between the line of work that Angel and I have done, these are the kind of questions that we always have to ask. I think it's very suspect. I get where Piers is coming from.
Yeah.
He thought that they were with her. She thought that they were with him. But at the same time, when you if I'm sitting here and I'm hanging out with Piers, and all of a sudden two people walk in, and Piers goes, "Kevin, I think you should go walk the dog." First thing I'm doing is calling the cops when I get outside. It's just, when you're around somebody, you can tell in the tone in their voice, the mannerisms, the way they talk, when they are legit, like, sketched out. And that's there's a lot of questions here, a lot of questions. And first of which being, how did they get in? Was the door unlocked? Did somebody open the door?
How did they know he was there?
And here's my thing: if I'm turning around, if I'm sitting here playing video games and I'm sitting here looking at the screen like this, and I turn over and I see two dudes standing up behind me, I'm not just gonna go, "Oh, what's up?" and look back at the screen, even if they are with, say, me and Angel are roommates, and they come in. And I think to myself, okay, there's some Angel's friends. Oh, hey guys, I'm going to stand up. Hey guys, what's up? I'm Kevin, Angel's friend. Nice to meet you. What's your name? I'm not just going to go, "Oh, hey, it's cool that you guys are standing behind me and I'm seated down in a vulnerable position. I don't know you guys, so I'm just going to go ahead and look back at the TV. And then I'm going to see your reflection in the TV." First off, if I'm playing video games, I'm not really looking at your reflection. I'm not going to do that to begin with. It just, there was a lot of sketchy shit that I saw in these videos.
Now, if I would have shown up on scene, I would have said, "First of all, sir, can I ask you a question? Did you know these individuals?" "No." How did they gain access to your residence? Was the door unlocked? Did somebody let them in?" And then he's going to say, well, I don't know. I was playing video games. She got up. Because again, you're saying she's the only one there. So if the door was closed, she had to let him in. That's one. Two, how did they know you were home? Did they know you lived here? Yes. How did they know you were home?
And here's another thing, Angel. Let me ask you this. If you were sitting down in your living room, and let's just say that the door was unlocked and they walked in. If you're sitting down in your living room playing video games or whatever the case may be, your front door opens up, two guys that you cannot easily identify walk into your house. Are you really going to stay seated down on a couch staring at the TV?
Hell no. And the other thing is, if you saw that reflection,
I got more firepower in my house than the freaking police department. Okay, I'm not just gonna stay sitting down on the couch.
And the thing is, if like Kevin said, he's playing video games. If he saw the reflection on the monitor, then you're not focusing on the video game. You are just like looking at that monitor, and you're focusing on that because all of a sudden the video, because when you're playing a video game, you're focused on the video game. You don't see nothing else. But if you saw the reflection on your monitor or on your TV or whatever, then dude, you knew something was popping off. You was like, yo,
this whole thing is just it's sketch town, man.
Look, I don't necessarily think it's Sketchtown. I think that in that situation
How is it not?
Look, I just think in the situation as well, with everything that happens, like if things just happen so quickly in those situations.
Well, while we're doing this, let's play a little game, Piers. Okay, let's play a little game. I want you to talk to and I know you've already done this, but Angel, let's entertain this for just 1 second.
Okay,
Piers, you tell the story of how you are led to believe it went down. And Angel, every time we hear something sketchy, just say the word stop.
Okay. So what I've heard from him say in previous interviews and interviews an interview I conducted was he turned around, he said to the girl, it's time for you to, like, he realized at that moment that he said he was playing games, saw them coming, let me finish. And he's gone, oh, hey guys. And then he just naturally thought they were with her.
Stop.
Yeah, stop. Why did he naturally think he was with her?
I mean, not only that, you have two people standing in your house that you don't know. You're not going to introduce yourself. You're not going to say, hey, can I get you anything? You thirsty? You're not going to just normal hospitality. You're not going to introduce yourself. You're not going to stand up, shake a hand or anything like that. Try to make somebody feel welcome, whatever the case may be. So there's my first issue. And Angel also said stop. So I imagine his issues are along the same lines.
Yeah. And the thing is that he thought they were with her. How did he think that he was with her if they walked in the house? She's there with him. She did.
Like my first instinct isn't, oh, these are two people I don't know. They're probably with her. No, it's these are two people I don't know. Why the fuck are you in my house?
How long has he been living with her? He must have seen all her friends.
Yeah, I'm not too sure, but it was she. From what my understanding was, the two guys that came in were African American. She was African American.
That's sketchy.
She was African American. So he thought they may have been like her cousins or something along those lines. He just, oh, hey guys, you know what I mean? Like they'll just come in, they're standing there, they're waiting. So once she came out with the dog and she saw, holy shit, I don't know who these guys are. That's when he said, okay, it's time for you to take the dog for a walk. So he got her out of there to protect her.
But why did he not say that in the interviews prior to this? I mean, I saw the interviews that he did. That story you're saying right there out of your mouth has not come on, especially on America's Most Wanted. He did not say like, well, if you don't know, it's time.
I'm gonna go ahead and throw up another red flag. And this isn't on him, this is on her. If this is how it happened, and that is if that is what happened, because there are always three sides of the story. There's his side, her side, and the truth. Yep. Or his side, their side, the truth. Whatever the case may be. I got something too. But if you and I are roommates, and I just go, Piers, it's time for you to go walk the dog. Are you really gonna get the dog, go walk the dog, and just go on a casual walk like it's normal? Are you gonna call the cops? Are you gonna walk? Are you gonna walk around to the back? Are you gonna go get a weapon out of the shed or whatever the case may be and come back in? Because I'll be honest with you, I don't care if I walk in on a drug deal that I wasn't supposed to see. I'm coming back in there with cops, guns, whatever the case may be, and I would rather look like an idiot for barging in on something that was nothing than to walk the dog and my friend end up losing a thumb. So that's another red flag.
And well, hold up. And Piers, this is my thought process. Okay, two guys walk in, and I finally realized this is not my friend. Hey, Piers, why don't you go walk the dog? And you're going to walk out that door. Do you really think two people who are home invading your residence is going to go, sure, leave, call the police? They're going to go, wait, you ain't going nowhere.
But that's the thing. They were there for him. They weren't there for anybody else.
But you're not going to let witnesses leave the...
I get that, but that's the thing. Obviously, these guys weren't that fucking smart, though. They weren't
bullshit.
They weren't that fucking smart. Come on, dude.
You rob a liquor store and they go, "Hey, customers, you need to leave. I'm best thing you go outside."
No,
Nobody's
no.
gonna leave. Nobody's leaving. You're staying.
Look, it depends on how stupid the criminals are. I
No,
mean,
they ain't
if
that
they're
fucking stupid.
it can be. It can be from every account of what this incident has occurred. The assault that has occurred, it was very sloppy. It was very messy. As soon as the door shut, that's when it went down.
Piers, I love you, but you're trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit.
I'm just going off the facts that I've heard from previous.
that's-
And they're
from previous
horse
media-
shit.
That is
look,
bullshit.
I'm just going off what I've heard. Okay, so don't attack
You
me.
take
But we're looking at it from a
I'm not
different
attacking
angle.
you, but listen.
No, I know, I know.
Look at it like this. Look at it like this. Even the dumbest criminal in the world, you take the stupidest criminal in the world when they commit a crime. What's one of the first things that goes through their head? I hope I don't go to jail. How am I going to stay out of jail? Oh, there's a witness. Yeah, just go ahead and walk on out. Just go ahead and, I can't see you anymore. I don't know what you're doing.
They both
Da,
stepped
da, da.
aside like the Red Sea and said, "Please, freedom. There's the door. Go. Hey,
Yeah,
here's the
look.
leash."
Anyway, so
If
let's
I was
go
going to
into,
go into
Yeah.
hold on, if I was going to go into a residence with me and Kevin, and we're going to go in there and say, "Yo, Kev, if there's anybody in there, we do not let them leave. We go in there, handle business, but make sure nobody leaves because I don't want the cops to be at the
No
front
one
door,
comes
whatever."
in. No one goes
comes
out.
I would have
they
locked the
went-
bitch in the closet.
they weren't there to fucking like whack them. They were there,
And they
to-
weren't there to go to jail either.
Either.
No, but they were there to cause damage. They were there.
Yeah,
to,
but you don't want the person to leave. You're not going to let that other person leave, regardless.
It's so sketchy.
It
Okay,
is,
let me
dude.
let me ask you this, right? If an assault is happening, assault in progress in
Mhm.
the United States, if you got say 911 gets a phone call, there are people in my house, there is assault happening. Let's talk realistically. How long is it going to be between the police getting that 911 call and police showing up at residence?
Under a minute.
Really? What if What if
Okay.
it's a busy night? They don't have enough cars on.
But dude, you don't want to take
No,
that
no, no.
chance.
Oh, no.
Crime in progress.
I'll go and break this down. So, and I'll use a true story. So one night I'm on a traffic stop. I pull this car over. I think it had like a headlight out, and when I got up there, I smelled drugs in the car. I can smell the marijuana. It's got a very distinct smell. Once you smelled it once, you smell it 1,000 times.
Absolutely.
So I've pulled the guy out. I've told him to stand by the car, and I'm doing my field interview. Hey, look, man, I can smell it. Tell me what's going on here. Da 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 da. I'm going through my whole shtick. And next thing I know, I got my radio on my shoulder. And next thing I know is home invasion in progress call comes out. Hey, man, tonight's your lucky night. Get the hell out of here. Here's your driver's license. Bye. I'm in my car. Lights and sirens are on. And I'm going. And that's what every single cop is doing. Now, I understand that 1 minute, when I said less than a minute, you're probably looking between a minute and a half, depending on how many officers you have on shift, how big of a town you're working in,
Yeah.
but it doesn't matter what call you're on, unless you are on like an officer needs assistance or you've been specifically ordered to sit there. When a call like that comes out, no matter what you're doing, no matter if you're at the McDonald's, on a traffic stop, dropping the kids off at the pool, in the bathroom, whatever, you're full speed, lights and sirens on, and when you get there, guns drawn.
And also, the thing is this: you know how many times I've been on a call and they go, my radio was at 48, and they say 46. There's a disturbance with weapons on 21st and Waco, and I go, dispatch, I'm close. Because I was eating at the fucking local restaurant that was there. You don't want to take a chance that they call 911 and the next cop is 2 blocks down because he's eating on 602 and stuff like that. That's what I'm saying. On lunch break.
Response time's very quick.
Yeah. So you don't know. So why would I let anybody out taking the chance that if she did call 911, how fast they're going to respond? That's going to make me more nervous.
No, I absolutely get it, but I'm going off the details that I've been across. So for me, like it's who knows? She could have gone.
Okay.
An attack like that, like you got to think in a situation where you have like a interaction between 2 people or 1 person or one-on-one, whatever it may be. That stuff happen. Everything happens very quick. Right?
I think
So
what
she-
it is. is that Kevin is Pierce. What is Pierce? Kevin, what is the thing when the person robs a bank and the robber Stockholm syndrome?
Yep. You side with your captivator.
Yeah. So I think since you did his interview, you're kind of like, oh, poor guy, maybe it's true. And then you look at the story and you're like, yeah, he seems like a reasonable guy. I believe him. See, I never met the guy, and I'm looking at it from a different angle, and I'm like, bullshit. I just see too many holes.
I mean,
There's
he's
more
the guy.
holes in this story than a screen door flapping in the wind.
So, what
Go
are
ahead,
your
Pierce.
thoughts though? Like, he's had his thumb cut off. He's lost a fucking body part. Like,
I'm not saying no. I'm not saying this was a scam or a hoax. I'm saying that roommate was probably in on it because look, if two people come in and first of all, they let her leave. Well, no, let's even go back further than that. They know he's home. They get there, no sign of forced entry. That's one of the first things you looked for, forced entry.
Mhm.
Third, they let her leave. They let her walk away. Those three things right there. That female roommate is now my prime suspect for those exact reasons.
I'm
They
gonna go
let
off
her
that
walk
after.
away. They knew he was home. So by the interviews and everything, there were only two people in the house: the guy who lost the thumb and the girl who walked away. They knew he was home. No sign of forced entry. They let the girl walk away. The girl didn't call the cops. The girl didn't come back until after it was done.
Yeah.
If it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks, it's probably a fucking duck.
What, and I'm gonna piggyback off that, is that the way I'm looking at it, and I'm just making this assumption here, is that if Rob Black knew where he lived, which I'm assuming so, right? And the vision I'm looking at is that she got paid off to tell somebody that he was there. That she probably knew those guys, and she got paid off. And
It's the only logical explanation.
since he's Messiah, the hardcore deathmatch, any hardcore deathmatch don't want to be played by no female. So to give it more of a hardcore look, is that she let him in. He looked up because I assumed that he was with her. She's like, "Hey guys, come in. Hey,
And
how
he
you
did the
doing?"
chivalrous thing because
Yeah.
it sounds a lot better than saying you got worked by a girl.
Yeah, because think about it. If the girl opened the door, right? You're playing video games. You're sitting there enjoying the game. She gets up. Somebody knocks on the door. She walks in. She goes to the door, opens it up. Hey, come in, guys. He looks. I'm assuming she's with him because she let him in. He's playing video games. All of a sudden, she goes, "Hey, I'm gonna go out and walk the dog." All right, no worries. My homie's gonna be here with you. Oh, okay, no worries. I'm still playing video games. I look at this. I look at the monitor, and I'm like, "What are those dudes doing behind me, chipping their teeth?" You get them. No, you get them. What the fuck? And then they jump me. Then all of a sudden, I'm getting beat up, get my thumb cut off. I'm running to the door, trying to open the door. My thumb's missing. Then the fight breaks out. They're trying to unbuckle my pants. And then all of a sudden, supposedly, he breaks the guy's arm. They take off running. So all of a sudden, she comes back all this hours later. Oh my God, are you okay? I got worked by a chick. I got worked. I'm supposed to be the kingpin, king of the streets, hardcore, all this bullshit. Am I going to really say, well, this girl, these guys, I got my ass whipped and I'm missing a thumb.
It's too damn sketchy.
I would have sat there with my pen and paper, and look at my partner, because I always gave my partner the look. Like, okay. Because you can see the bullshit. I just think she was in on it. I think she got paid. I think she knew Rob Black from the gate. And how many times have Rob Black been at the residence? And you know what I mean? That's what I would look at. Like, if he knew where he lived and if he befriended her. I mean, just so many holes in there and so many things I could go off of investigation wise to see what the connection is from the girl, Rob Black, and the two black dudes.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, it's where do you see it being, Kev? Like, from your aspect of a current police officer, where would you start? You've been given this investigation. Where would you go from it?
Well, naturally, you're going to go talk to you're going to go, and here's the thing: a lot of people don't understand, and Angel, back me up on this. Your investigation does not start when you start talking to the first person. Your investigation starts as soon as you pull up on scene and get out of that car. You survey the area, you see what's going on. Is it a quiet neighborhood? Is it a rundown neighborhood? Has there been a lot of break-ins in this certain area? Is this typically a quiet neighborhood? Whatever the case may be. So all that's running through your head when you first go in. Then I'm gonna make contact with the 911 caller, which in this case is the male. Hey, what happened? Did you recognize the people? Tell me everything you remember, as much detail as possible. And when he tells me that these two people came in, didn't know who they were, no sign of forced entry. I thought they were my roommate's friends or my roommate's girlfriend's friends. She walked away, yada yada yada. That woman is now my prime suspect.
Yeah.
You know,
I have reason to believe she had some kind of involvement. And the biggest thing for me in this, the absolute biggest thing for me is they let her leave the house.
and the thing is, I mean, if you fans out there want to see the full interview, you definitely got to check out Shooting the Shit Uncensored with Pierce Austin on his other show. But we need to run a clip right here of you interviewing at that point where he tells the story, because
Yeah.
let
He
the
talks about the
fans,
investigation.
yeah, let the fans determine this, and let's just check out that clip.
So let me go ahead and get this pulled up really quick. And while I'm getting this pulled up, guys, continue talking about it. It's only going to take me a second, but
Sure,
continue talking about it, and I'll let you know when I have the clip ready to go.
Pierce, you go. I know you wanted to say something, so
Sure. Like, I'll tell you what, 3 weeks after this assault, he turned up at the deathmatch tournament for CZW. And that was like, he ended up going in and having a fucking brutal deathmatch 3 weeks after against Sick Nick Mondo. And his mentality was, fuck you, you're not going to stop me doing what I love to do. And to me, to be able to go in and do that 3 weeks after taking a brutal assault like that, I mean, come on, man. Like, was that that shows up for someone to go and do that and to have that much passion about the business and to sit there and go, you know what, I've been through hell 3 weeks ago, but I'm still going to turn up and do one of the most brutal matches in the first tournament of death at CZW, which back then was probably the most brutal hardcore organization that was going around. In some aspects, you have to pay credit to this guy.
what kind of credit?
I mean, to turn up and still go through, to put himself in that situation to have a match 3 weeks after an assault like that.
Okay,
You wouldn't?
no.
Okay.
Sabu fucking cut his bicep open and still continue the match. I mean, fuck it. I mean, it's part of the business. You wrestle hurt, you wrestle continue. I don't give him. He's nobody special than Sabu.
Sabu wrestled dead.
Yeah, many guys wrestled and pushed forward. In matches that I give him credit for. So it doesn't make him any special.
No, but he also, like, it was almost like a State of the Union address where he was at one CZW show and he made it very clear that he's not going to be run out. He's going to stand his ground. He will, he's not going to run and hide, and he stood there with the complete locker room in that ring with him, and everyone had his back.
Yeah, but you're not going to
go.
Okay.
So I have the clip pulled up. This is going to be a clip from Pierce's interview with the man in question, the guy that we're talking about, the Messiah. So if you want to see the full interview, make sure you go to Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on YouTube, and you can check out the full interview. But we're just going to cut down a brief little clip of it. But like I said, guys, for the full interview, make sure you go subscribe to Multi-Continental Wrestling Alliance on YouTube.
Now, this is the clip about the investigation.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
All right. So here we go.
Okay.
Police investigation going on. Was that something that you were pursuing with the authorities, or was that something that you were just wanting to let it go? And you
honestly, as far as I was told, and I wish I could tell you the guy the guy that was in charge of the investigation. He was a really good guy. He and I talked every now and then. And during this point too, I moved to Philly so I wasn't in the state anymore. But he would keep in contact with me. And one of the last conversations I had with him, because his thing was, he goes, "We all know Rob Black sent these guys, but and I know a lot of guys are like, why wasn't he ever questioned or anything like that?" And I understood the sheriff on this. All right, we go there, we're going to ask him, what is he going to say? I had nothing to do with it, because we didn't have any proof or anything like that. But it came down. He told me it came down from higher ups above his pay grade to leave Rob Black alone, and that was because they were then going to start, or they were in the process of getting ready to. The government was going after Rob or John Ashcraft, and they were going after him for distributing obscene material through the U.S. mail.
Yeah.
So essentially, it was just leave him alone, and they did. And I never pressed it. I wasn't one of these guys who was like, I need justice. I'm very much, maybe to a detriment. I'm very much whatever. It's okay. It is what it is.
It's not going to bring the thumb back. It's not going to.
Yeah, it's not. And I'm not one to like dwell on it or anything like that. In fact, dude, I couldn't even tell you the date that it happened. Like I just, when it comes to things like that, whether it's, people close to me passing away and stuff, I can't tell you the dates. Like in my phone, I have reminders for like when my mom passed away, but I don't know the date. Yeah. My brain doesn't work that way for whatever reason. And, not having the thumb, it is what it is. The biggest issue I have is maybe tiny ketchup packets and trying to, tie my daughter's shoes. Other than that, I'm fine, man. Like I don't have any problems.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, look.
Okay,
So-
I gotta wait. Okay.
Horse shit.
The reason why, because I mean, it just baffles me that he's like, well, it's just so hard for me to remember dates, and I just don't think it. Dude didn't want to fucking press charges. That's one. That motherfucker was shook, because the fact is, once the report was made, it was supposed to go on the detective's desk. The detective's desk will bring in people for questioning. It will bring in that black girl, will bring in Rob Black, and just question him. Regardless if he said, I don't know, I have nothing to do with it, you still investigate the matter. You still try to put the whole story together.
But as you said, the detective in charge got told from people above his pay grade, leave Rob Black the fuck alone, because we're going after him for bigger shit.
That's federal. That's a federal crime for the postal shit.
And if anything, and I'm speaking solely from experience, if you're going after somebody for this big charge up here, okay? And let's say you're going after somebody for this big charge, and then you have this smaller charge. Not to say that, orchestrating a hit is a smaller charge, but you question them on this so they forget about this. You question them on orchestrating this hit so they don't even know you have them on this U.S. mail stuff. So I don't buy that for a second.
And that's a totally different meaning, totally different. You know how many times we were like, okay, perfect example. When we helped the U.S. Marshals to do a search warrant to seize, and we got into the house, they were only after the guy because of the guns. There was cocaine, there was marijuana, they were only after the guns. And you know what they told us? That's yours. What do you mean it's ours? We just came to assist. Well, we're only after the guns. This is yours. We don't want nothing to do with it. So basically, even if they were going after him for that crime, either A, you could tack it onto their case. I'm just going off that. And 9 out of 10, they don't care about petty shit like that. So they go, hey, man, just take care of it. We're just going after him on this. So I don't think the higher ups is going to come down and say, hey, just leave Rob Black alone because they're going after some male shit. This bullshit. Bullshit. I just think he pussied out, and he didn't want to file charges. Because he knew they were going to find a way that this, like, he got punked out from some chick, and that would have came out, and then his legendary hardcore status would have been diminished. He wanted to use it, thinking that it was going to excel his career because he lost his stuff.
Here's why I call bullshit. First of which being what I already said. If you're being invested, first off, it's two completely different jurisdictions. You have federal and you have local. You have state law and you have federal law. and it's like I said, if you're being investigated for something to do with federal, and I have something on you with local charges, yeah, I'm going to bring you in on those local charges, because then you're going to think to yourself, oh, they got me on this, they don't even know about this. You're going to get careless, you're going to continue to make mistakes, and you're going to make that other case stronger just because you think I don't know anything about it. So I call bullshit on that. And then you don't now I cannot tell you the day that my grandfather died. I cannot tell you the exact date. But I can still recall police report dates because you file those things so many times. As many times as he had been questioned, as many times as he has given statements, as many times as he's being contacted, I don't buy for 1 second he doesn't remember the date. Also, another thing. Well, we can't prove it. That's the point in questioning. At that point, the roommate, the female's coming in, Rob's coming in, mutual friends between the two are coming in. You're going to question the homeless guy that was sitting on the corner who didn't know anything about it because he might have been a lookout. Just because you can't prove it. Here's the thing. A person who is wanted and a person who is wanted for questioning are two different things. You don't need probable cause. You don't need proof to ask somebody questions. Now, can they refuse to come in and ask your questions? Yes, they absolutely can say, no, I don't want to come in. But to sit there and say we're not even going to try,
Yeah.
horse shit.
It's almost like the same thing like when you get pulled over and you get a ticket and the officer goes, sir, here's your ticket. Sir, do you mind if I search your vehicle? 9 out of 10 people say yes because they think that they go, oh, if I say no, that means I'm hiding something.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just that I just think that Rob Black would have came in if they would have said, hey, come in, because if he would have said no, they would have like, see, that he's hiding something. If he would have came in and said, no, man, I don't know why he's acting this way. I have no ill will against this individual. He slept with my girlfriend or wife or whatever, and he showed up at my XPW show.
Yeah, but there was no proof that he slept with the girl, and everyone's
But it's
everyone's
still
denied that,
motive.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look, it is still motive, but why would the police not even question? Like, if an assault's happened, like in Australia, it's not the individual pressing charges. A lot of people think that it's like, oh, if I get assaulted, I'm the one pressing charges. No, the New South Wales police are pressing charges against that person.
In the
I'm
state of
just the victim.
in the state of Kansas, right? The only thing that you have no say over is domestic violence. You can't say I don't want to file charges. If I would have went, sir, guy got beat up, he got his ass kicked, and you go, sir, are you willing to file criminal charges against this individual? And he goes, no, I don't want to. I will write a report. So-and-so refuses to file criminal charges. I mean, I will write my report, but at the end it says I asked him before I wanted to file charges. When it came to the detective's desk and he reads that, he puts it to the side because he's not going to waste his time going through this whole investigation unless that report, if the guy is refusing to file criminal charges. So unless that report stated to him, like he said, he refused questioning, he refused to answer questions. There was a lot of holes, and he's like, "Are you willing to file criminal charges if we find these individuals?" And he's like, "No, I just want to be left alone. I will write in a report, have the detectives follow up, and say, hey, it says here that you don't want to file criminal charges. Sir, are you sure?" I mean, they will still question, I mean, and I have not heard in these stories that the police were like, "Nah, he just refused." I don't know. I mean, there's just so many holes. I mean, Kevin, maybe I'm missing something, but am I missing anything?
No, you're saying exactly what I was thinking. The way he breaks it down and the way he describes it, I'm tempted to one of two things has got to be true. Either one, he refused to press charges, or two, he never called the cops to begin with. One of those two things has got to be true.
But then when he went to the hospital to get attended to, wouldn't they
have
call
to? Yeah, they have to. Any type of assault, any type of injury, any type of bullet hole, any type of cut, stab wound, the hospital has to call 911 because of liability issues. They have to call.
Not here in Georgia.
Not here in Georgia.
Gunshot, yes, but a severed finger. You could literally walk in there and say, "Yeah, I was literally cooking and I was cutting, vegetables or whatever." And
No.
Took the thing
They-
right off.
No, I know I'm sidetracked. I had to go to a call at the hospital because somebody shoved a fucking candle up their ass.
Nice.
You know, and then I had to show up and say, "Sir, do you want to file a report?" No. It's like no, because he was married, and I think he did it on his own, and he didn't want his wife to find out. So in Kansas, the hospital will call 911. I mean, of course, yeah, if it's something simple, but like if you lost your finger in your lawnmower or something, but if it's something that's sketchy, like a thumb cut off or a stab wound or a bullet hole in the ass, you show up. They do call 911 just to cover their tracks to make sure, and we follow a simple report if it's bullshit. That's
There you
here.
And
Well-
I think I've pretty much said everything that I can say on this one.
I can go on and on with this shit.
I just want to say, for being able to stick with your story and being able to pull the curtain over people's eyes, I give you 2 thumbs up.
Dick.
But what's funny is that, oh my god, the wrestling world is so fucking weird, and my mind is also like thinking, please do not, because I'm not saying he's an idiot, I'm not saying he's stupid, but I just see an angle. I won't be surprised that the thing happened on himself, like he did it himself, like he got somebody to cut off his thumb.
Why though?
Because I seen some strange shit, man, in wrestling. Look at the Vic Grimes falling off the top of the fucking cage of the scaffold.
Scaffold.
Yeah, and knowing that he knew Jack, oh no, I'm not gonna do nothing. Wrestlers are crazy, and Vic Grimes falling off that scaffold was a crazy situation. How many people would do that just to get the pop? And I just think if I want to go sideways on this and said that he did it, he's orchestrated it himself because he knew that he could work it in an angle and make it something bigger than it is. It's possible because wrestlers are fucking crazy.
To cut a fucking finger off, man. I don't know, dude. I couldn't just go, hey man, yeah, let's do this for an angle.
Look at those death matches in Japan where guys like can get body slammed on top of fucking butcher knives. Or you have to be a crazy individual to do shit like that.
Like I said, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks, it's probably a work.
Could be a work too.
Okay, so final comments on this, guys. Angel?
I just think it's bullshit. I think there's more to it. I think he just didn't want to be played by a girl, or it was a work that he was trying to just be the hardcore messiah. And you seen him when he went to CCW, because if he's so irate, if he's so mad, and again, that was a work, but I'm just saying, let's say if he was legitimately mad, well, all of a sudden on your show, he's like, well, the only problem I have is opening small ketchup packets and tying my daughter's shoe, and I just don't remember dates.
But we're 18 years past the incident, though.
Dude, it's his fucking thumb. I remember what I was standing in when September 11th hit, and that had nothing to do with me.
Yeah.
If my thumb got cut off, I remember the day, the time, what was showing on TV, what fruit snacks I was eating. Everything is my fucking thumb, dude.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Kev?
Final comments are right there with Angel. Either one, it was a work, or 2, he doesn't want to admit he got worked by a female. I'm sorry you lost your thumb. I think there's a lot to this story that hasn't been said. There's a lot of holes in this story. And had I have been the officer assigned to this case,
I wish I could put my thumb on it. Oh, wait a minute.
I just can't quite put my thumb on it. I just, I'm glad that he's no longer under the thumb of Rob. So,
And I know Pierce, he's your friend. He did your show. He's your buddy. Dumbass.
Look, he's someone I interviewed. He's definitely someone I enjoyed talking with.
Stockholm syndrome.
But like I said, I feel that the situation that's happened, when he said that the detective was like, no, we're getting him for bigger shit. Like, if you're trying to get someone for bigger shit, wouldn't you want to also add on to those charges?
Yep.
That's to me. Like, if you're going to go someone for, say, federal postal sending obscene materials, why not go after like a vicious attack or orchestrating or, paying people for a hit, essentially? That to me would be adding on to the charges, which, putting someone away for, say, 5 years, this could put someone away for 10 to 15. And I'm just throwing years out. So, that's my final thought.
I'd love to interview him sometime just because I know his thumb would be on the trigger just ready to shoot.
Yeah. I would love to. You know what? I would love to interview him because he'll fucking leave the show crying because I would just he would confess that it was bullshit.
I don't know, man. 18 years later and it's no more information's come out.
Because he doesn't want to say anything.
It's fair.
But anyway, it's whatever. If he doesn't want, no thumb lost on my end. Ooh. Fuck him. Fuck him sideways. Thumb fuck him. 2 times. It is what it is. If he's not concerned, I'm not concerned. It's a good story. It's a mafia story. It's a bullshit story. Fuck him. I wish they would have cut off his dick. It would have made another, what's the dude who got Lewinsky? Not Lewinsky, the Bobbitt.
John Wayne Bobbitt.
John Wayne Bobbitt story, yeah. So, hey, man, whatever, man. Pierce, Kevin, close off if you want to. I'm done.
Yeah, I'm done. Let's wrap this up, guys.
All right, guys. So, quick shout out to our sponsors just before we get out of here. Mayon Belts, the premier belt maker in the world. If you want to start your belt collection or add to your belt collection, make sure you hit up Mayon Belts on Facebook. Also, A-Rock Designs on Facebook for all of your custom merchandise, such as hats, hoodies, cups, tumblers, anything like that. And as always, scrolling across the bottom of your screen, guys, go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Wrestling Review Society or MWA World and check out our awesome merchandise.
And also, don't forget to plug in the Shooting the Shit Uncensored for that full interview with the Messiah if you definitely want to check it out. And we would love to hear your opinion. And any law enforcement who watches our show, please tell us we're wrong. Please show us some light on this because I would love to hear your opinion.
Post it up in the comments, guys.
With that being said, we'll see you next week for another exciting episode of Wrestling with Tragedy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.